Welcome to the Trigger Bois podcast, where I, Vamp the Vampire, the main co-host, with these other co-hosts, scream at the top of my lungs harder and louder every time this episode starts up. So with us today is me, Vamp the Vampire. We also have with us Munzie.
Yo, 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 this episode had quality titties.
Nice you. We also have with us Lucy.
Yo, 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 this episode had a post-apocalyptic beach town.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, so since you mentioned...
Let's jump in.
Yeah, since we mentioned the beach scene, or the beach, it's where most of the episode takes place. And we start off with the kids on vacation for episode 7 of FranXX.
Which is immediately the weirdest shit in the world. Because it raises...
let's just start reading about this fucking episode. Why not?
Raises
I
so many goddamn questions. Because, like, why were they allowed in their authoritarian government to go on a vacation to the beach? Why was that not a safety concern that they were just going to go and hang out on this beach with seemingly no supervision, no weapons, no mecha, no...
Off the plantation
entirely. With no goddamn shoes. and yet there's supposed to be giant death robots running around. And they're just like, yeah, go have a barbecue.
Yeah, I also thought if it's strange that like they were prepared to just have a barbecue, as if that was something that like casually happened in this universe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Yeah.
Maybe they have barbecues.
Oh, my God. Throughout this whole episode, they, like... Nothing was explained to us at first. But, like... The barbecue or whatever... was already set up for them at the beginning and at the end of the episode. Both for, like, lunch and, like, dinner, I guess. And
wait, really? It was set up in the beginning, too?
Yeah,
they,
like,
only at the end,
commented it at the end.
Oh, this was here. When did this get here?
Yeah, maybe they didn't comment.
It's like people are sneaking in and giving them food.
Lol.
Yeah. Is that what
So,
happens
like,
like in the morning?
fucking,
Do they not know who like prepares their food for them?
Like fucking Big Brother or something like that.
Hell yeah.
Possibly. It's kind of creepy, to be honest. Like, the whole thing of, like, oh, yeah, we're supporting Papa. Oh, so
yeah,
creepy.
that was so fucking
creepy.
crazy.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I thought that was dumb. I thought that either way... Okay, so I see that fucking statement that Shota Boy made made me think
Shota Boy,
that...
hell
it reminded me that this show is going to go two directions with the government of the plantation. It's either going to be that they are authoritarian, and that means that they're good guys, or they're going to be authoritarian, and that means that they're bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And either way, I don't like that Shota Boy made this speech, okay? Because I think that this speech was like, the character was like really, really into this idea of Papa being a good guy, where no matter...
I'm glad I get to serve
Brainwashed.
Papa and let the adults live in peace.
No matter which direction they go with Papa being a good guy or bad guy, this speech was ham-fisted foreshadowing for it.
Oh, yeah.
Either way. Well, it's either ham-fisted foreshadowing for him being evil, or it's him being uber patriotic, and that's just like kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like,
Yeah, and even if
I'm
that makes
so
sense,
happy
Yeah,
that
even-
we're good guys.
even if
Yay.
that is like justified in universe, I don't like it as somebody who just like hates that mentality about the world, like
Yeah.
either blind patriotism or like support, or because it's either he's just a blind patriot, which is stupid, or he like genuinely like just like likes the fight or whatever, which is also like something that I don't agree with. And so either way, it's just like this kind of strange patriotism that I'm definitely not a fan of.
Oh, yeah. But we're not here to talk about those things. We're talking about... I feel like the bigger picture here is that, you know, with this scene, it's trying to say, hey, these kids, you know, as we've been talking about, have been raised ever since they're wee little kids, you know, in this society to fill this purpose. So, of course, you know, they're going to have this patriotism, sort of brainwashing. It's very ham-fisted. And, I mean, I don't like those things either that you guys just mentioned.
Yeah, it's
But,
just like a bad way to do patriotism. And this, see, the thing for me is that like this is coming from me off. I just watched Gunslinger Girl, and in Gunslinger Girl there are also like little like kids, young girls who are brainwashed to be assassins. But the way it's done in Gunslinger Girl is that like they brainwash them not to be like patriotic, but to just be loyal to like their caretaker. And so like they'll just do anything they tell them to, which I feel like is almost better because like I don't know, is it maybe no kind of brainwashing is good, but at least it's not like patriotic. At least they know that they're being like used.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, Hitler, like the people who supported Hitler, they were supporting a person, and maybe not like, even though it was under the guise of, nationalism, whatnot. It was really the personality who like kept it all alive and like attracted people. So I think it's pretty effective in this Papa character. Ooh, how they refer to him as Papa, where it's basically just like even though it's like it seems like Papa's like in control of everything, like has the final say. There's still some sort of other big figures here, so it's very like,
that council that we get to see again this episode talking about some.
Oh yeah,
some
Yeah,
stuff.
I noticed sitting among Papa the God King's council, there was a girl. I picked up
There
on
was
there
a
being
woman,
a woman council member, which I thought was a nice like tiny detail. You know, they weren't just all dudes.
Hashtag not sexist.
Well,
Yeah, but where's the gender non-conforming staff
yeah,
member? When are they gonna make that blatant?
Where's my non-binary representation?
Come on,
listen,
what are you doing?
this is the most hetero show ever.
True facts.
Lucy, someone paraphrased on Reddit on one of our episodes. Like you said, it was like too hetero, and that was like the most hilarious thing to me. But I really just speak to what the
that
series
I will stand
about.
by. Just because, see, here's the thing though: is Gurren Lagann is both incredibly heterosexual and super pro masculinity, but also had a non-binary character in it. So there we go.
Hell yeah.
Nice zoo. Now that we've kind of gotten away from the council, as I call them, the floating council on my notes. Hero and 02, just to make sure the canon's clear here, are official. That's really it.
They are official. Yeah, that was cleared up. That
was like the first like 5 minutes.
Official partners. Yeah, right,
But,
right in the beginning there.
We start getting to the good part. Actually, before that, there's just one scene, very short scene, where Dr. FranXX meets Hero, and the blonde boy meets Hero. I just want to mention that. There's nothing to say about it because nothing happened. And maybe the blonde guy's gay for Hero. That's about it.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be
I
pretty
thought
good.
that was
actually.
I thought that it was really silly that they really like built him up by having the final shot on the last episode be on this blonde kid. In this episode, they were just kind of like, yeah, he's here.
Yeah, he barely did anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's just like, ooh, blonde kid, he's gonna be an important character, and it's like, blonde kid.
he said like 1 or 2 lines, and that was it.
Yeah.
Dr. FranXX did tell Hero a piece of advice, something along the lines of like,
Don't let her consume you emotionally or whatever.
yeah. So it's more foreshadowing, of like,
wanted
now you've like conquered this like just making a connection and whatnot, but she's like a demanding woman. Ooh.
Yeah.
She's a demanding woman.
I wanted to mention something about Dr. FranXX, which is that I think he has the best character design in this entire show. It's not fantastic, but he's got this really cool like metal half skull like chin thing. And he's a short old man with a big old lab coat. It really makes him stand out in this shitty looking show.
Oh yeah, especially when like there's so many people with just the same uniform. Oh,
Yeah.
like Nana, the instructor girl of the kids.
Speaking of that,
she's like a good character design, but the dude, her counterpart, that's also commanding them, he's so boring looking.
oh, he's so boring looking. But speaking of
Really
the of everybody having like the same outfits and whatnot, I actually thought it was really strange that when they were on the beach, all the characters, there were like 4 or 5, like they're like the girls, they're like 3 different bathing suits the girls wore, and I just thought that was strange because like I'd assume they would just like standardize it all, like they do with their outfits. Like there would be like a girl's outfit and a boy's outfit, and that'd be it. But but no, they had fancy little fancy special bathing suits for their random vacation in celebration of their recent battle. Yeah, but like they didn't even do good fan service because they put 02 in a fucking one-piece bathing suit. Like
that was dumb. That's a fetish,
like,
though.
I know it's a fetish, but it's not like I want to see 02's titties, which they did a good job in the ending theme. But I think
the
we'll
whole
save that for
ending
the end.
montage. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I just want to say that 02 still has a good bod. It still pulls off the outfit, but
I think they didn't show off the girls enough, or the boys for that.
For a fan service episode.
Yeah, for a fan service episode, this is pretty fucking tame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I really wish.
And this is where this show was like the weirdest for me. Is that like I've said it from the start. Is that like this show. The tone of this show is just constantly in question for me, and I think this episode was a big example where they have these they have these fan service-y kind of scenes. This beach scene that could have been anything, but they did a beach scene, because it's anime, they have to do their beach scene.
Check mark.
So. They have all that, but then they also like have this like looming darkness where they're learning about like the old world or whatever when they discover this town.
Yeah, that's the next scene where we get into, and that's probably what we're moving on to right now. Whereas Mitsuru leads the group off in this weird direction that he doesn't even know it's there, and they start exploring the old world sort of territory, abandoned territory. So take us off, Munzie.
So yeah, they get into this town and they're exploring around, and I think it's Lucy pointed out, and I definitely agree with them, that this town is like has like the best looking backgrounds of like anything yet, which I agree with. But even then, it's all very samey, kind of bland. It's just a town. The art just happened to look better than the art usually does for the background. I mean, I think that's also part because they're stuck in a desert. Most of what we've seen so far. I think it's just because Plantation's moving around to a non-desert area, or maybe that they were traversing across this desert, or whatever. We still don't know enough about the world to know like where they go and why anywhere they ever end up has any meaning. Even though like one sentence of a line could explain that, but
oh yeah, it's that easy.
So I think it's because I think they do that because the characters don't know where they're going. Like none of the kids know. Oh, yeah. Like because they're not told anything. They're just sheep that follow and do what they're told. So and that's why. So like it makes sense. But like as an audience member, I kind of want to know especially if they want to make this world interesting for me. I still don't know. See, now we know that there was like an old world and these towns were destroyed, and this is kind of like a post like apocalyptic kind of setting.
Called it. Somebody told me that I was being a jackass of like episode 1 when I said that this fucking show is post-apocalyptic. Y'all dumbasses just didn't fucking like read the wiki that I read or some shit. It said it somewhere that was post-apocalyptic, and also it was incredibly obvious because they were wandering around a whole desert. It was like a little sci-fi fortress town. Like you should have seen this coming if you were surprised by it.
Oh yeah,
they're just
basically
like, oh, this is what a city. Weren't they also like this city's kind of shit? Like when Shota Boy was doing his like big patriotism speech, he was like, yeah, I'm glad we get to let the adults live in these cool, awesome big cities, not these shitty tiny cities that they have from the old world or whatever. And I'm using old world. They don't use the term in the show. I'm just using it because that is what it is. Mm-hmm. But
oh yeah,
and they discover some things. They see kiss. Oh, they talk about kissing. Oh fuck.
Oh yeah,
that was important. But that's before they go exploring, right?
Yeah. Like the boys sort of corner take Hero away from playing with 02, then corner him near some rocks towards the beach from going
and
from
almost
sea.
Rape him.
It looks like they're about to rape them. Where they literally surround him. Literally. It's pretty hilarious. And they're like, dude, what's this kissing about? Oh, you've done it, right, man? Oh, what's so special about it? And they're just like, heroes is describing, they're just freaking out.
And he's like, I want to kiss. And that was a cute little thing, but also dumb. And that's the thing, is like, it's this comedy moment that in a show where like it was consistent and made it clear that there is a comedy aspect to it, that scene like would be funnier, but it's just not, because it seems like so out there in terms of tone. Like it doesn't fit the tone of the show.
Oh no, I need to mention this, because I remember, I think Digibro talked about this, where it's when he talks about, he has a problem with people saying, oh, this show doesn't know what tone it's going for, what genre it's going for. That both those things I think would apply. His rebuttal to that is like, oh yeah, it's like life has fun times, has bad times, has cool times. And I think in a lot of other anime, there's a whole lot of like comedy just mixed in with like regular plot, whether it be like a primary thing as comedy or like a secondary thing. So I don't know where you're coming from, Munzie.
It never feels right. Like the tone shifts don't feel like, they don't feel right when they happen. So in a good show, like, so shows can have tone shifts all the time and have them work, but where shows really shine with good tone shifts is when it's not even like that hard to do. It's just making them feel like natural. You're still making them feel natural. Yeah, just
natural,
making
seamless.
it. Yeah, and here it doesn't. Here it's just like, this is the comedy scene and this is the non-comedy scene.
Honestly,
the transitions between scenes are not appropriate. And just like in life, there's transitions from bad moments to good moments. Whether that transition is a quick transition or a slow transition or a build up or kind of something dies down, all the time it's like that. But there's still transitions, and having you need to have good transitions from these. You need to have good tone shifts, is what it is.
I actually like completely agree, because there's something about the tone shifts that like makes it feel weird to me. I don't want to say, oh, it feels rushed, you know, the transitions, but it's I don't know if it's that. It just doesn't feel natural.
I think the problem is, I think a big problem for that is that they never seem committed to one tone. Like they never go full into a different tone when they shift the tone, and so now it's just like it's a little bit it's like a little bit
so the lines are too blurry,
like comedy, or it's a little like, yeah, the lines get too blurry, and so sometimes you're left with like, wait, what kind of tone is this? Because it doesn't shift that much, but the way it shifts is still significant, that it affects like how it feels to watch the show.
Oh yeah. I think I'm getting what you're putting down. Hills to the yeah.
That's all I'm saying, is that it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. That's all I got. I'm gonna stop talking about tone now.
Oh yeah. Just to wrap up the exploring the old town or whatever. Like nothing really happens, to be honest. They just kind of look around and just like looking at stuff. And
they found out that the mansion that they live in was based off of this mansion in this town that they found, which I thought was actually a pretty cool idea.
I mean, was it directly based off of it, or was it like, or are they just similar because that's what mansions look like?
I don't know. If it is the first one, and I'm not wrong about it, then I think it's a good idea. If it's the other one, then I don't really care. And fucking what else? There was 02 is trying to intimidate Ichigo because she's got a lady boner for Hiro.
It was more like teasing in a way, to be honest. Just like
she like held her up against a wall though. Like that was a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's 02 in general.
And she was like, "I made out with the guy that you like."
Yeah, she's just being a cunt.
Oh, yeah. It's too good.
I mean, I also think
like this is where I see
it's like, get over it.
This is where I'm saying like 02's like bratty. It's like now she's just rubbing it in her face, and it's like, this guy's mine. Back the fuck off. Like, calm down, 02. He's not going anywhere.
When you kiss somebody,
he's a little
it means
beta
that
male.
You own them now. It means that I own him, and because I fucking put my mouth on his mouth.
Well, 02 says the line. It's like, when you kiss someone, you belong to them.
Yeah, she said
like,
that to Hiro.
No, she said when you kiss someone, they belong to you.
Oh yeah,
There's an important difference.
And I guess that's what she was saying to Ichigo.
Yeah.
And Hero, he was like, "You belong to me," and Ichigo was like, "This man, he's my man. Back the fuck off."
Oh, poor Ichigo. Uh, she's been getting memed on so hard in like fan art and like memes in general. Like, she's about her just getting cucked so hard.
It's what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, we also saw. Speaking of getting cucked, we also see that Goro like actually like has like real feelings for Ichigo when he sees her
nice.
the beach episode.
He wants to put his dick in that. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
he's like, and he's just like all the other guys. Like he says, I'm a guy too.
Ooh.
I like girls,
Yeah,
I can
the three of them
sexually
were
harass
just
women
gawking at the
beach.
girls on the beach.
which
when they're in the
is
sea.
fine for like. I mean, it makes sense.
Whatever.
It's
It's
just
just
so
an anime
creepy.
trope. It's
It's
just
just
an
like,
anime
how can these
cliche,
girls
like,
not
you know?
realize that these guys are just like standing there like for like
I mean, they
20
do.
seconds,
I mean,
just
they
staring
do.
at them.
It's
Uh,
just like why I'm not okay with the comedy scenes being mixed in the action drama show. Is also why I'm not okay with the dudes gawking at the girls on the beach. Is that it's just overdone. It's just a cliche, and that's like, and I mean that like very specifically. I know what a cliche means. It means that it's used to the point that it has no effect on me anymore. When I see guys gawking at girls on the beach, I don't think about how the show actually has themes of sexuality or is trying to say something about these characters and their relationships.
It's trying to say that sexuality is inherent. Oh my god.
I just see an anime, you know, and it's just like, yeah, it's just doing anime things, and I don't fucking care.
Oh yeah.
Like,
That
thousands and
it
thousands.
really
of other
is a
shows.
cliche though. It's been done since the 80s in movies in general.
It's whatevs. It's whatevs. It's
It,
just
it
a
doesn't
thing
bother
that's
me,
there.
but it is.
Yeah.
I understand.
It's just a
completely.
waste of time.
Yeah, this the whole beach scene. I mean, it really just seemed like they needed to have a way for them to figure out, like, about like the past and have them talk, because that's like the only substantial things that happened were Zero Two and Hero became like an official squad, like official partners, and they discovered that there was like an old world and Ichigo still loves Hero. Like, not like that's not even a new thing. It's like that's all they talk about.
reinforcing it.
Kissing. Like the other kids learn about like what kissing is, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that could have been done in any other way. Like you could have done that in something in a much more interesting way, I felt.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, the scene, like the setting seemed off. Like it's not like what we're used to seeing. And yeah, sure, they arrived at a different place, but like I said, like we didn't know that they were going to a beachy, they were leaving a desert area. We don't know anything about the world that they live in.
Yeah.
And the kids are barely like learning about this either in the show. It's all nonsense.
Oh,
I'd like to say, like, I would have loved to have seen, so far as the sort of kissing bit, like some sort of like scene where the guys and the girls all get together and like actually experiment with kissing with each other instead of the guys just being like, "Oh, I want to kiss girls," and then don't even like actually propose it to any of the girls. Like, they all have
Yeah.
their partners. I think it would be entirely reasonable that they would have a sort of intimate relationship where they could just go up to them and be like, "Hey, I heard about this thing and I've been wanting to do it. You want to try it out?" You know, they're supposed to be like making
If-
all these comparisons to them dating. So
yeah,
why don't you
if
just
this
take that
show
further?
is going to be a metaphor for sex, or at least not even a metaphor, like, because it's really getting directly talking about like kids discovering sex in a setting where like they had no exposure to it before. Like, why not have them like actually experiment with it and like be curious? And they're asking the questions, but they're not really acting upon it. And instead, they're just kind of going for this cheap comedy bit of Shota Boy
trying
like
to
wanting to kiss
kiss
Hero. And the
Kid
only
Hero.
reason that's funny is because of like the fact that most people perceive like homosexuality as like a comedic bit in this, and that's it, you know.
Which actually, before that bit
The show is too
happened-
hetero.
Yeah, before that bit happened, I threw it out there because that's like a common childhood story, you know, is the guys are sitting around in their treehouse talking about how they want to kiss girls, and then they say, "Hey, you know, if I want to know what kissing feels like, well, you've got a pair of lips." And that just kind of happens with people who are experimenting at a young age.
Mm.
And these people are as experienced as your average, like, 6, 8, or 10-year-old. So I actually think that if they can't talk to the opposite gender for whatever constructed reason, that is a place that the show like seriously could have gone to. And I felt like a little gypped out of a like oh shit, that's a racial slur. Whoops, sorry.
A little what?
Whoops.
A little what?
A
little what, Lucy?
I'm totally forgot. It's my father's fault. He used it around me when I was a kid. Whatever.
Oh, no.
What the fuck was I saying? I felt a little ripped off. That they took that whole bit or they took that whole like place that totally could have gone. I was like, hey, this is like something that I actually see in the world. These straight people who experiment with homosexuality just to get some experience, and they just make a joke out of it and move on. And it's like, oh, you could have done something there.
Yeah.
This could have been interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really didn't think I would have much to say about this episode, especially like from the start of it. But I actually have more to say than like last episode.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I just want to.
This episode just seems like a lot of missed opportunities for me, and just like a lot of places where they could have done better than what they did do.
2-part episode ? Would be a good idea.
I mean, they have to wake up. They're spending the night on the beach.
No, I think they're just gonna cut back to the plantation, just like how they cut really
totally
awkwardly quickly to this thing.
All I was saying was
exactly
like, if they just like instead of like making it end so early or whatever, they could have just had it so like it was a 2-episode thing at the beach, where it's like
I don't want that at all.
I do.
Why?
Just because like the fan service is like
No, you're totally wrong.
There were 2
You're
shots
absolutely
of
wrong,
fan service,
because
and it was,
all we have to
the
do
most
if we
ham-fisted
want
fan service in the world.
fan
All right.
service, and
That's
we want
exactly what I was about to comment upon. Be quiet. Thank you.
No,
All right.
if you want fan
So,
service and you
the
want
fan service
characters,
was
you can
very
do that.
ham-fisted.
I
thought it was a joke.
sexuality by getting them in the fucking bedroom with each other. You have some hot, sexy shots of people making out on top of each other, and then we can actually have some fucking character development. We can have some fucking sex in this goddamn show. I hate that it's like supposed to be about sex, but nobody's. It's so fucking chaste, and it bothers the fuck out of me. So we didn't need to have fan service and a fucking retarded, cliche fucking beach scene. We didn't need it all. We could have explained the old world by doing literally anything else. There's an entire fucking city where they're supposed to go out on missions. Why didn't they go out on a mission into an abandoned city with like an archaeological team that they're supposed to protect, and they have to like look into an old factory and be like, what the fuck is this? And then they could like talk to experts about it or something, and maybe we could get some exposition that could be interesting from some knowledgeable characters. Maybe the characters could have gone off and explored on their own against orders or something like that, and then learned out some new things that they weren't supposed to learn. Maybe we could have had like an actual good, interesting fucking episode that has like
Trigger, A1, if you're
dynamic
listening,
things.
Here's a potential writer. If you need someone to write an episode for you, here you go. Lucy's got a whole episode planned out for you.
I do like what you're proposing. Don't get me wrong. All I was gonna say about the fan service that was so ham-fisted that it seemed like a straight up joke on itself. Like I was convinced. Why I want this a 2-part episode, just because it's like nothing ever in the show goes into enough depth. That's what we've been complaining about, like all these episodes, is that none of these ideas are explored deep enough. You know, it's like there's talk about this kissing and whatnot, but nothing is really talked about at all. It actually seems like it's almost brushed aside way too often, like since the boys are so curious about it and they just like stop talking about it later on in the episode. It's like, what? Huh? But yeah.
I guess I'm just coming from a place of not being convinced that if they gave themselves a second episode to be at the beach, I'm not convinced that they would explore those ideas.
Yeah, I mean, why I was so like...
At this point, I want them to get on with it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
why explore something interesting, which I feel like they've kind of proven that they can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, why I like this episode opposed to others, it's just because, like, in the other episodes, they're stuck at, like, the facility or whatever. They're either, like, suiting up for a mission, or they're just, like, at, like, their house where they eat. And it's like, nothing's gonna happen there. barely anything has happened there significantly, and bringing them into a new environment is going to change the plot immensely. You know, they're going to find about new things about the world, although they didn't really do that as much as I would want this episode. It's just better. So I do. That's why I like what you propose, is because Lucy, because having them go into like a factory or something like that and have some real exposition, I wouldn't mind an exposition dump at this point in the series, to be honest.
I think we could really use an
Let's get some
exposition dump
cafes
about the world, not the cafes. About the world specifically, because it's so like not necessarily a massive cliche where you can just assume a bunch of shit about it.
Mm-hmm.
It leaves like
We need
lots
some
of
world building. We need some.
yeah, it leaves lots of space where we can't just assume a bunch of bullshit about it. And that's kind of bad because all that space isn't being filled up by anything yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna kind of. It's kind of similar to how like they can't really stick with the tone, but like it's like they can't really stick with an idea of what they want to like, where they want to take the story, because the only type of like any development we've had at all has been between the kids, and mainly Hero and 02, and kind of just how everybody's discovering at the same time that Hero and 02 can work together, and how that works. And it's taken them 7 episodes just to get to a point where they're official partners, and that's it, right? They rode a couple times together. They discovered the one kid almost had won the pill popping kid got hurt. He's apparently fine now. He's just really jaded, or he's just like really pissed about everything now. Really serious about everything now after he was popping pills.
What a fucking edgelord! He's so funny to me.
Very edgy character. And that's all they've done really developing anything. They haven't done a ton to develop the world. Only very little. They've done very little to develop the rest of the cast in any significant way other than Ichigo and like our pill popper boy. He popped pills once. That's about it. So there's not really a ton of development in terms of the cast, and we're 7 episodes in, and there's not much world building either, like I said, and there's not much going on with like any major conflict with Klaxosaurs or anything. And so the only thing we've had developed at all at this point is Hero and 02, and they could have done so much more alongside that, developing these relationships, right? People are comparing this show to other mechas like Gurren Lagann and Ava, but at this point in those shows, Shinji had already gone through like an entire character arc. Simone had gone through an entire character arc. Like you have these other kind of like slightly alternate type mech shows where there's like big struggles and development of the major characters, but they did the exact same thing while also developing side characters well, developing conflicts well, developing worlds well. What the hell is this show doing?
Oh yeah, you're completely
like it's taking
right.
And those shows are the exact same length as this show. Why is this show taking its goddamn time?
It's really weird.
Yeah. It's so weird because it feels like it's written in like a 5-act sort of story, and learning like 5 things through a whole story like of 25 or 26 episodes. It's like that's not enough. Listen, whoever wrote this. I know you're Japanese and you won't listen to this, so I'm just saying this out loud. You can put more in your story. I swear you can. You can do it. You can write more. You can have things actually happen and things develop. I swear. So with that open letter, done. Let's get to the next scene where they're back on the beach after exploring the old town, and it's nighttime. And I can't remember nothing that really significantly other than like the conversation we talked about earlier, where like Shota Boy was all like being patriotic or whatever for Papa or whatever.
Yeah, they all sleep in like unprotected without any guard cycles in the middle of this supposedly robot infested post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah. And apparently there's, like, basically no animals except for, like, we've seen one crab and we've seen one bird in the series. That bird died,
seen some
by the
bacon.
There was some meat.
02 ate some bacon. They've eaten meat, but
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
I'm
that
sure the
could be
kids
like,
don't know about animals existing in this world. I'm sure.
Yeah,
of
it
that.
seems like
yeah.
there's so little activity that's like it's basically just like an apocalypse just in that environment, and I'm sure like in the facilities of the town or whatever, there's animals being like bred and killed and eaten.
It could also
Um,
be like artificial meat, considering the setting,
is true.
the sci-fi setting.
Fair, but hey, we wouldn't know, right?
Yeah,
but
we would
they
know.
don't. They
You're
never
right.
tell us. Oh my god. Oh yeah. So, then there's the scene of Ichigo and Hiro, not being able to go to sleep. So they walk on the
They
beach
go and
together,
talk.
and
Yeah, go ahead, Van.
it was really just this scene where nothing like Ichigo was about to confess to Hiro, but she was like cut off by like Hiro seeing the shooting stars and it's like,
Totally
yo
cucked.
dude,
That was
look at
so
this.
fucking funny. Oh my god.
And she's just like, which I remember I talked about Gunslinger Girl earlier, and there's a shooting stars thing in Gunslinger Girl. That was the only comparison. They do it. They do
Lol.
it there too. Little kids being taken control of and brainwashed to do dangerous work. They also see shooting stars.
Oh, yeah.
Unoriginal. No.
It
Whatever.
also happens in Erased, and that's shitty.
Yeah. Well, Gunslinger Girl was good, but
It also happens in Pokemon Dungeon.
Does it?
hell yeah.
In one of the
That's
It
an
games.
happens
anime?
a lot in Japanese animes.
Pokemon Dungeon and anime?
One of the games.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah, they like looking at the stars. I mean, there's lots of looking at stars in like American media too, like movies.
Bunch of shit. It's a cool. But here it was just for Hero to cuck.
Unknowingly
Ichigo.
cuck Ichigo.
It's some bullshit. I don't know why they fully intend on just stringing us along with Ichigo and her emotions towards Hero. It's been like 5 episodes. I
Darling
really
in the
would love to have
cups.
seen some fucking
There
development.
needs to be like resolution there, or at least some
Yeah.
dramatic like climax to that.
Well,
This emotional arc needs to end for Ichigo.
it's
Yeah.
gonna drag on until there is some sort of climax, maybe even at the end of the series. And it's probably just
God,
gonna
I hope
involve a
not.
lot of screaming and be in the middle of some sort of fight. She's like, "I love you," and he's like, "I don't care," or "That's okay, we could be friends anyways," or some bullshit like that. We're
Also,
not gonna care.
on the topic of running something into the ground, I'm sick and tired of 02 saying "darling."
Oh
Daddy.
yeah. Once
It's
you brought
gotten
that up,
really
I
old now.
entirely fucking agree with you. Like now that you're saying it, I was thinking, looking at that and thinking of how many times I've had to hear the word "darling" over these past
Said that exact
seven
same
weeks.
way.
I could never call a partner of mine "darling." I could never do it. Just because like I can't handle the word anymore. I've heard it too many times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like anytime a future partner of mine ever calls me darling, I will probably just have to laugh because it's just funny to me now.
Yeah.
And
Rip.
same thing about like me calling a future partner just being like, "Oh, hey darling." I'm just gonna want to like laugh and go, "Darling."
Darling.
Darling.
Oh yeah. I've become numb to
No.
it, so I'm pretty well
It's
off.
so bad. Well, you've also watched like every episode like 3 times.
I wince a little bit every time I
Vamp's
hear
gone
it.
and Darling in the FranXX comatose over
Yeah.
here.
I'm gonna OD any day now.
Yeah, Vamp when Vamp's not recording this Darling and the FranXX podcast, Vamp is just watching the existing episodes over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. Well, I may just make a supercut of every single time 02 says darling.
That'd be good.
That would be a decent one.
Mm-hmm.
At least then you know what you're signing up for.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm very much. I have nothing more to say about
yeah,
this.
there's just one
Yep.
thing I forgot real quick. is that in that conversation at the nighttime on the beach, where Shota Boy was being patriotic and whatnot, something was mentioned before that to, just give suspicion to Papa, and apparently when the humans started, colonizing in these like domes or whatever, in these cities, why the Calaxus were starting attacked was because of the magma. They've been using magma as their power source, and I just want to say that that's first of all that's like lore, and two, they're taking cum from the earth and using it as fuel.
Is magma cum now?
Yeah, I mean it's a liquid.
It's all a metaphor.
It's all a metaphor. Yeah. Like I don't know why.
All right.
It had to
I
be
mean,
magma.
Remember, this show's deep.
I don't think I get it, but if you want to read that from it, you can do that.
It's better than having nothing, Lucy. I'm grasping for
Yeah.
straws. All right. Any last words to the people?
We didn't talk about the ending montage of bikinis.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, new ED. Are they gonna be doing it like every quarter, like new ED?
I doubt it.
Is that confirmed? That would be nice. Change things up.
the-
Though I did like the first one. This one was good too
Yeah.
because bikini shots.
Yeah, we got some sweet bikini shots. There were some really like cute and also some pretty sexy shots in here of the girls. They had a lot of fucking personality to them that I felt like
Yeah.
was undeserved and unbefitting of the characters, but like a lot of these shots were pretty interesting and expressive, and just the show's not like that, and it made me
Yeah.
think that I really would have liked to seen this whole montage be turned into shots for the show when they were fucking around on the beach instead of all of the boring shit that we had to look at.
There are
You know?
individual panels of art in this ending that are better than the entirety of this series.
There really
Oh.
are. Like there was that one where Ichigo had the flower, or she had a crown of flowers
so
and was
good.
holding one over her eye. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, like my heart was just like boom, 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 boom. It was so cute.
Oh yeah.
It was good.
Ichigo is such a cute girl. Yes. This is our farewell to the people. Let's say goodbye.
What? Suicide Pact?
That too.
Suicide
All right,
Pact.
Odapunk's Suicide Pact.
We won't see you next week.
We won't see you next week.
Let's all
right,
grab
everybody.
hands, Trigger Boys, and jump.
Yep, let's blow our brains out. 3, 2, 1. Boom!
Boom.